Welcome to you all at home.
You've still got a chance to win this race, haven't you?
Just try. I wanna be the only one to make it through the
Hey guys, Dre here, back at it once again with another episode of Dre TV for you. I know you're expecting a Top Gear review, sorry about that, haven't quite seen the episode yet. I was very busy revising for an exam last night, so I didn't actually get around to watching it. It will be coming either tomorrow or Wednesday, so apologies for the small delay on that. But yeah, I thought let's put out something to fill the gap in the meantime, and I've been meaning to do this one for a little while, and now I can finally get around to doing it. So, hey guys, I'm going to talk a little bit about the helmet change rule that came into play. I'm kind of playing catch-up when it comes to news a little bit. I mean, testing news is kind of boring and, you know, doesn't really matter. I mean, if I was to do a Dre TV on testing, it would essentially be Mercedes are going to own all of our souls. Second should be fun, though. That's basically what a testing video would consist of, and it'll be about 45 seconds long. No. So let's talk about the helmet change situation and what's going on there. So basically, I think it was just under 2 weeks ago now. God, it really does seem like a long time. 2 weeks ago, the FIA came into play with a new rule or legislation that was going to say that drivers, once they had their helmet chosen for the season, their helmet design chosen for the season, they were not allowed to change it. So in-season helmet changes are now banned. Yeah, it sounds like a really fickle rule. Like, imagine reading through the FIA rulebook for Formula 1 and then finding it somewhere on page 700 where it'll be, oh, by the way, you can't change your helmet mid-season. Like, what an irrelevant rule that sounds like. And yeah, it's a weird one. And let's be real here, given the nature of Formula 1 and given the current state of the grid, this one has been aimed as a torpedo right into the side of HMS Sebastian Vettel. Because in his career, he's had 94 different helmet designs. Yeah. 94. That's more than one every other Grand Prix. It's pretty much a rotational thing at this point. But, you know, it's not just him. It's happened to a couple of other guys in recent years. Romain Grosjean has had a fair share of helmet designs, including that god-awful Matt LeBlanc one from America last year, that still, in my opinion, is the worst helmet design ever made. And also Adrian Sutil, who's actually had some good ones up, and in my opinion at least, ongoing as part of the season's gone on in 2014. The fighter pilot one, again from America, probably my favourite of the bunch. Who does he think he is? Maverick from Top Gun? Anyway, it's... for me, the whole thing just kind of seems like an irrelevant rule, really. Like, I see why the FIA's done it. The FIA came out with their reasons as to why this is being done. They said, essentially, it was because they wanted drivers to be more recognisable on the grid. They wanted to have a more distinct and clear identity as to who was driving the car, and they felt that changing helmet designs, you know, was confusing the fans. Even though it doesn't actually happen that often. When you think about it, F1 had a grid of 22 last year. Only 3 guys even changed their helmets semi-regularly, and if people did change helmets more often, it would only happen maybe on 2 or 3 different occasions. For example, Monaco, a lot of guys would break out special helmets, like Hamilton, Vettel, Sutil's done it before. John-Eric Verne's quite a big fan of that as well. He had a great Seaver tribute helmet a couple of times. You know, Alonso's done a fair few as well, where they've had special helmet designs for Monaco, because Monaco is, you know, the blue ribbon event of the season, apparently. I don't know why, but whatever. And more often than not, during a home Grand Prix, you might get a slight variance on design as well. So occasionally on home Grand Prix, guys would break out a special helmet as well. That used to be about it. And even in the nature now of people changing helmets more often, only 3 or 4 guys in a field of 22 actually do it that regularly. So, like, is it really that confusing? And the second point I want to say about this is that if you're that obsessed with trying to get drivers to have a clear identity, what was the point of the permanent number changes you had last year in 2014, where you forced drivers to pick a number throughout their entire F1 career? It wouldn't and that's going to be following them through their entire career unless they win the championship and they get to choose number one. Same rule in MotoGP. You pick a number, but the difference is in MotoGP, as you move through the tiers, you can change if the number of the class you're going into has already been taken. Like for example, Alex Marquez, who's moving up from Moto 3 to Moto 2 and has changed his number from 12 to 73 as a result of moving through tiers, and the number 12 was already taken by Thomas Luthi. So that's a thing. But despite that, that's what the permanent race numbers were meant to do. Make drivers more identifiable. Changing helmets is not going to do that. People know who is driving these cars. Okay, maybe if you're at a live event and the cars are going past, you might not be 100% sure because they're coming through at speed. But even so, I really don't see the big deal here in the legislation behind banning helmet designs. Look, F1 gets a bad rap for being boring enough as it is at the moment, and having drivers with a lack of personality and character. Bernie's been bitching about that one for years and years and years. And, F1 drivers, for the most part, are pretty boring, to be honest. And I'm not going to pretend like these guys are bouncing full of charisma and, being like James Bond or Will Smith. I'm not asking people to be like that or try to be fake for the cameras. But in a sport devoid of characters for the most part, except the smiling Australian fellow for the most part, or Lewis Hamilton's wardrobe, a helmet is one of the very few things where a driver can show off a little bit of creativity, and I think that can't hurt, right? Vettel's now become known as the helmet changing guy, and as much as people don't like it or like it, and I think most of the people who don't like it are kind of old school F1 fans who really, just kind of they think about Senna's helmet in the past or James Hunt's iconic design, and it's like, oh, well, a helmet's like a driver's signature, blah, blah, blah. And they're probably the same kind of fan that used to watch F1 in black and white television. I'm just saying, the time has changed, and if anything, as much as people want to hate Sebastian Vettel for doing that, at the same time, it makes you talk about it, so it must be doing something right. That's a key part of Vettel's brand now. He's now known as the guy with the multiple helmet designs. That's become his thing. And like I said, it's worked because drivers are doing it more and more often. Like I said, Adrian Sutil and Romain Grosjean's been doing that for a little while now. John-Eric Verne's been another one. Hell, even Ricciardo had 4 different helmet designs last year, and it was his first year in a decent team. So, it really isn't a big deal. Brand power is becoming more and more synonymous in Formula 1 now. It's 2015. It's how the ballpark's being moved, and it's how these dudes are making more money. Lewis Hamilton was talking about this to Autosport the other day, where he was asked, why did you keep your 44 despite winning the World Championship? And at that time, he was using the number 1 plate. Oh, why he wasn't using the number 1 instead of the 44. And he said, simply put, 44 meant more to him, and, number 1 was irrelevant. Every champion ever has had the number 1 plate. As my phone goes off in the background. But yeah, basically, he chose the number 44 because it meant more to him. It looked better on the car as opposed to number 1. And, he feels like because number 1's been used so much by so many champions over the years, he felt like 44 was more special. And, hell, you can slap 44 on anything and sell it as merchandise. You can have the 44 on the t-shirt. You can put it on, mini helmet designs. You can put it on caps. You can put it on, you see what I mean? The numbers, I always thought the number change was actually a good idea because it actually gave the guys a bit more of an identity. You can see Vettel and Raikkonen have the 5 and the 7 on their overalls as well. It's the little things like that which stick out to me, which I think is actually quite cool. And again, I had a couple of people moan to me on social media about this, about how, again, mostly older fans who feel like F1's selling its soul to the devil. And my response is, no, these drivers are trying to make some money, and that's what it's all about in Formula 1 these days. Get money, holler back, and I think it's a pretty cool thing overall. So, for me, I'm not going to get mad over this helmet deal. It's kind of an irrelevant point, which, again, because internet F1 fans these days have to have something to moan about, it's been blown up a little bit more than it probably needed to be. and hence why I've not really got around to making this video until now. But let's stop pretending like this is some kind of massive deal, and let's just shrug our shoulders. We'll all have forgotten about it by Australia anyway. That's my opinion anyway. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about the helmet designs and the helmet changes, and let me know if you agree with it, do you disagree with it, are you a brand, have you got a favourite helmet design out there which you like? I've posted some of my favourites throughout this video as well, because I kind of felt like it to, you know, pass the time. But again, hope you guys enjoyed the video, look forward to Top Gear later in the week, and until then, I've been Harrison101, thank you very much for watching, I'll catch you guys next time. Sayonara.